Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Restaurant owner shot dead in his Clarendon. A woman was shot dead in his Clarendon on Wednesday afternoon. Investigators reported that 39-year-old Alisa Lachman-Peart, a chef of Cornpeace District Hayes, was inside her restaurant when a man entered and ordered food. The man was being served while he pulled a firearm and opened fire on Mrs. Lachman-Peart. She died at the scene. The attack occurred about 12:57 p.m. at the Alisa Homestyle restaurant along the Hills Main Road. No motive has been established for the attack. Retiree killed in Red Hills, St. Andrew. Investigators are probing circumstances which led to the murder of 73-year-old retiree in Red Hills, St. Andrew. A farmer of Cedar Valley District, Cypress Hall, in Red Hills, St. Andrew, was found murdered at his home on Wednesday afternoon. His body was found wrapped in a sheet with what appeared to be a bullet wound to the torso. Woman and child homeless following house fire in St. Mary. A woman and child are homeless after fire got to their home in St. Mary on July 24. The blaze reportedly began up before 10:50 p.m. Officer in charge of St. Mary Fire Department, Superintendent Andrew Wildman, told reporters that when firefighters arrived on the scene, a 4-apartment dwelling was seen engulfed in flames. He said firefighters are still trying to ascertain the cause of the blaze and the estimated loss.
The brigade was alerted of a fire in Garina at approximately 10:50 p.m. last night. A team from Port Maria responded. Upon arrival, they saw a house fully engulfed in flame. The house was constructed of board, zinc roofing, and concrete base. The structure was completely destroyed, and they carried out cooling down operation. During their investigation, they learned that 2 persons, 1 adult female and 1 male child, were displaced. We tried to determine the cause of the fire, but at this time it is still unknown, and we're still working out the loss and the risk as it relates to the fire.
Opposition leader Mark Golden retracts controversial death voters comment. Opposition leader Mark Golden has retracted the death comments made, which he made on the political platform in St. Andrew on Sunday. During his address at the weekend, Mr. Golden suggested that some ballots should be cast in the name of the deceased voters during the next general election. The comments sparked public outrage, with groups such as human rights lobby group Jamaica for Justice and the Jamaica Labour Party calling for clarity and for Mr. Golden's statement to be retracted. In response, the PNP said Mr. Golden's statement was taken out of context. However, this response was not enough for some government members of parliament who moved assent to motion against him in the lower house. Speaking at a press conference, Mr. Golden retracted the statement but maintained that it was meant to be humorous.
On Sunday, at the constituency conference for East Rural St. Andrew, I made some remarks which were really off the cuff and were a response to some banter in the crowd. The remarks were intended to be humorous and were not intended to be taken seriously. I realize, however, that some people have interpreted those remarks as being serious statements of my position on the matter. That is not the case, and I unreservedly withdraw and retract those remarks. I am fully committed to Jamaica having a free and fair electoral system so that our democratic elections are conducted to the highest standards of fairness. I'm fully committed to the elimination of all forms of electoral malpractice. And therefore, I have no hesitation in withdrawing those remarks, which, as I've said, were not intended to be taken seriously, but apparently have been taken seriously in some quarters.
Thoughts to observe PPV operations, lawbreakers to be reported. The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODS says it will be taking the streets to observe public transport operators who are creating mayhem and refer them to the authorities so that they may be punished. TODS President Hector Newman made the remark while noting that an all-hands-on-deck approach is needed to remedy the issue plaguing the sector. Mr. Newman said such actions is necessary as a few rude men and women cannot be allowed to destroy the transport sector and affect investment opportunities.
But if we as investors and stakeholders in the sector does not come together to weed out those who are creating mayhem in the sector, then whatever government give to us, whatever fare increase, whatever policies and new policies are put in place, we will continue to be where we are, in a dilemma, going on the wrong road. I urge owners, investors, and stakeholders to let us unite in weeding out the bad eggs from among us, those who are creating mayhem. We cannot continue this way and expect to see the light of day in terms of a renewed and transformed public transport sector. TODS is doing whatever it can, and we are urging the sector to come together and unite to build a better transport sector. Government alone cannot wave the magic wand. And that is why we are taking to the street as an organization, especially the corporate area, to look at those who are creating mayhem and refer them for expulsion from the public transport sector.
Cop fatally shoots spouse ex-boyfriend at Washington Gardens home. Police have launched a probe after a cop shot and killed his spouse's ex-boyfriend at a home occupied by the couple in Washington Gardens, St. Andrew on Monday night. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old taxi operator Stephen Powell of Slackville Road in Kingston 3 and Brook Avenue in Kingston 20. Information reaching reporter is that about 9 p.m., the policeman and his girlfriend reportedly were at home when Powell forcefully entered the veranda of the house before aggressively beating down the front door and the front window. It is reported that the cop immediately contacted the police via phone and reported the incident, during which Phillips eventually gained entry through the front window and entered the living room. Phillips reportedly then attacked his ex-girlfriend with a ratchet knife, and the policeman fired 9 shots, hitting him. Upon the arrival of the police, he was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Duhaney Park Police is investigating the incident, and the Independent Commission of Investigations has been notified. Church member Trigger Man sentenced to 45 years in jail. Trigger Man Dwight Bingham has been sentenced to 45 years in jail for killing Andrea Lowe Garwood as she worshipped in church in Trelawney in January 2021. The sentence was handed down in the Trelawney Circuit Court yesterday. He will need to serve 30 years before he is eligible for parole. Bingham's sentencing is the latest development in the case that sent shockwaves across Jamaica. Last week, Lowe Garwood's stepson, Javon Lowe, walked free after the prosecution's case crumbled because Bingham refused to testify against him. Leon Hines, a getaway driver who testified against Garwood and Bingham, was previously sentenced to 6 years in prison. Lowe Garwood's shocking murder was captured on video live stream to worshippers who praise God from the safety of their homes, a way to keep themselves safe from COVID-19 pandemic that raged at the time. As the shots rang out, those inside the Agape Christian Fellowship Church scrambled for cover. Man killed in fiery accident in Trelawney identified. The man who was killed in the fiery crash on the section of Higame Road in Trelawney on Monday has been identified. He is 74-year-old Rodney McCrae of Mansfield in Ochoa, St. Anne. Reports from the Falmouth Police are that about 4 p.m., McCrae was driving his Honda CR-V motor car towards St. Anne when he allegedly overtook a line of traffic and collided with the international tractor-trailer. The Honda CR-V reportedly burst into flames on impact. The fire department was alerted and firefighters who responded carried out cooling down operations. McCrae's charred remains was later retrieved from the vehicle. He was burnt beyond recognition. The driver of the tractor received minor injuries. Nikisha Ward, who knew McCrae from a church, described him as loving. Brother McCrae, very jovial person. He was a people's person. He was giving. He loved children. He loved family, always smiling. Lovely man, I tell you. I've never seen anybody like in any contention with him. He will be missed, she be mourned. She said the church members will join hands in supporting the family. Monday's accident brings to 224 the number of people who have been killed in crashes since the start of the year. The National Road Safety Council has again called on citizens to be vigilant on the roads. Vice Chairman of the Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, urged motorists to obey the road codes. I think it is useful to remind all Jamaicans to wear seatbelts front and back when you are driving, do not drink alcohol, and drive, do not smoke marijuana, and driving, put on your helmet. Both the driver of the motorcycle and the pillion rider, make sure you wear light-colored clothing at night if you are a pedestrian, he stated.
I think it is useful to remind all Jamaicans to wear your seatbelt front and back when you're driving. Do not drink alcohol and drive. Do not smoke marijuana and drive. Put on the helmet, both the driver of a motorcycle and the pedal rider. Make sure you wear light colored clothes at night.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell